All right, I think we are doing good here. If anybody's tuning in on Instagram or they're tuning in on YouTube, please let me know how the stream is doing. If everything is looking good to you, trying something new where I'm doing the stream both on YouTube and on Instagram. Trying to go through and do this in a way where I can both be creating on the iPad so you guys can see it on Instagram and everybody can see it on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out a better view of this and you're on Instagram, please definitely jump on to YouTube. You can usually find me just by searching my name, Rocky Rourke, and you should see my live stream going right now. Hello, everybody who's tuning in right now. Let's see. Hello, Derek. Hello, Jonathan. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't really know what the format's going to be for today. I'm still trying to figure it out. I actually got music playing in my ear, so I'm going to lower the volume just a little bit. But what we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and create something in Adobe Fresco. This is actually something I live streamed earlier. I think it was Saturday. Saturday night. Yeah, Midnight Doodles Saturday night. So you guys can check out that live stream on my YouTube channel. But today, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I might even ask the audience what they would like to see. Again, if you guys have any questions or if you guys have any comments or thoughts on what you would like to see in today's stream, please let me know in the chat, both on Instagram and on YouTube. I'm going to try to focus on both of those at the same time while I'm doing this. So this is going to be an interesting thing. But I just want to check with anyone who's tuning in on YouTube. Is the stream looking good? Is the audio good? Is the everything else good? Please let me know in the chat. Also, for those of you who are tuning in on Instagram, let me know how everything is looking, how I'm sounding, and everything like that as well. Okay, so I think what I might want to do is I might want to create a character during this live stream. I think that's what I want to do. I don't want to do another one of these screens here where I've basically gone through and I've done a bunch of faces. I actually think I want to go about creating a character. So let's see. Let me go ahead and jump over here, and I'm going to jump into a blank screen, or actually this isn't a blank one because this was a doodle I did yesterday to test this out and see how the quality was for the stream. And I think it's going to be pretty good. Probably the hardest part is going to be just figuring out what is the best way of going through and doing setting up my little easel here, so to speak, because I think that's the hardest part right now. Let's see. Oh, Jonathan jumped from Instagram onto YouTube. Finally made it to one of these live streams. How's it going, man? Stream is looking good. A bit quiet if I were to be picky. A bit quiet. Okay, so maybe the volume's a little bit low. Jonathan, let me know if this is sounding a little bit better or if it's too loud. Let me know. I'm trying to figure all this stuff out and make sure that everything is flowing perfectly. Let me jump onto Instagram and just make sure that no one else has made any comments. And I think we are good. So yeah, so while I'm doing this, while I'm going through and creating today, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I will try to answer them. I think that Instagram will probably be the hardest one for me to answer because I'll have to go back and scroll. But I'm going to take little breaks here and there so that I can answer any and all questions that come about. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go and set up my... I'm going to first do a sketch. So I'm going to go through and find my favorite sketching color, which I think I just passed it. Yep, there we go. I actually... Don't ask me why. I just prefer to draw in blue. I don't know why that is. I think just because I've seen a lot of people draw in blue before, and that's why I like it. So I'm actually going to field a question for everybody who's tuning in, both on YouTube and Instagram. What kind of character do you think I should draw? I'm going to just start drawing a character, and if I don't get any suggestions, then probably what I'll end up doing is just figuring something out on the fly myself. Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for letting me know that the audio is good now. I'm glad. I'm also doing this with AirPods in, so it's a little bit awkward. But hey, but you know what? We have 10 people viewing right now on YouTube. That's actually the most I've seen so far during one of these streams, so that is awesome. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start just like creating just like a body here, and depending on what any suggestions that we have for characters that come into the chat, I'm just going to go from there. Let's see. Hello, this is Box. Thanks for tuning in again. Looks like nobody has any suggestions so far on what character they would like to see. I think, though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start creating some sort of character here. And I always start with rough shapes in creating my characters. Circles for the head is always the first thing that I do. Hello, Look Mom No Hands. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Somebody says a doctor. Ooh, actually, so the way I've set this up so far is, let's see, Victor Maris on YouTube says frog catcher. Mahmood says, you're awesome. Thank you so much, Mahmood. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Let's see, dude wearing backwards hat. I actually kind of like the doctor idea, and I'm wondering if maybe because of like what's going on right now, I think a doctor might be the best option. But what if we made it like a superhero doctor, right? I think that would be a pretty cool thing to do. So right now, because I've already got the pumped up chest here, we can kind of see if I'm just going to outline these here. We've got the neckline coming in. Let's see. The fun part is always, like, I can always get the chest just perfect, but then the legs are always a bit more difficult. So I think what we're going to do, because I actually don't like doing gigantic legs. Let's see. A blue afro. Dude wearing a backwards cap. For me, like legs, I don't like to make them too meaty. In fact, I've gotten comments before that my characters look like they've missed out on leg day, and I am fine with that. So that's gonna be the fun part right here, is just getting the legs just right. So for those of you who are tuning in and asking questions, like just please feel free to ask away. I'm gonna try to answer as many as I can. It's gonna be a little bit difficult. But one question I just saw come in on the chat on Instagram is, what application am I using? I am using Adobe Fresco. And so that allows me to work both vector and raster. So right now I'm working in raster with these sketches. And then once I start to jump into actually creating like the line work, then I'll be doing vector. So I'm going to give our doctor here some boots. I don't know why, but I feel like that seems about right. Again, if anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free to ask in the chat, both on Instagram and on YouTube. Let's see, let's go give our doctor a power pose. Our doctor here is not afraid of the coronavirus. This is Box Ask, is the iPad good for illustration? Yes, it is. I am a huge fan of using the iPad for illustrations, and I always suggest to people that it's a good investment for the future. Hello, Amir. Welcome back to the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. And actually, Amir was the one who pushed me to definitely do today's live stream. At first, I was going to skip it, but he was like, "Hey, when are you going to go live again?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm going to do it again today." Okay. I still don't know about the legs down here, so those might change. But the torso is looking good. I think what we're going to do is we're going to give him scrubs and not like a doctor's jacket. my wife is actually a medical assistant. And so she is now, she works at a university here in San Diego in their medical program. Yeah, so we're going to change up how these legs are set up. And she now is only working once every 3 days instead of every single day, because they ended up closing the university. Or, yeah, closing the university. They still have online classes, but they're not having anything else. So Mahmoud in YouTube is saying maybe references can help you unless you want to do it absolutely with your imagination. I think for now I'm going to do it completely with my imagination because of my wife and her experience in the medical field so far. I can actually, I'm pretty good at this type of, let's see, I'm just going to tiger stripe this out. I can pretty much eyeball it, but so I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to, let's do this. We're going to duplicate this, and then we're going to erase the legs on the duplicate, and then decrease the opacity on the first version. There we go. Now I can see it better. So Branding by Amir on Instagram is asking, what do I think of Dribbble? I have been a huge fan of Dribbble for a long time. Lately, though, I am not a fan. I wish that they weren't doing what they are focusing on, and I've seen a lot of people leaving Dribbble, and a lot of people that I know, and it's kind of a little sad. I'm still going to post on Dribbble, but I don't know what the future holds for them. I do think that it is a good option for posting your work and for potentially getting work, but I don't use it nearly as much as I used to. Whoops, let me move this over. Sorry. And by the way, I apologize, guys, on Instagram if I do move this a little bit too much. I'm just trying to make sure I get the right angle. Let's see. On YouTube, does Adobe Fresco compete with Procreate on the iPad, or do you think it's a bit more robust? So I am a huge fan of Adobe products. I don't use Fresco. I do use Fresco. I don't use Procreate at all. I've used it. I used it when it first came out years and years ago, and I was not a fan of it. I have since used it. It's probably been a couple of years since I've played around with it. But I would say that the thing that really, I'm going to do like we're not going to do Superman symbol. The thing that really competes for me, the thing that makes Adobe Fresco better than Procreate, is the fact that it's all vector. That it's not just raster. So right now what we're doing here is all the sketch here is created in raster, and then we're going to use vector for all the line work and the fill and everything like that. So this is by far way more robust than Procreate in my mind, because I am a vector illustrator. Okay, let's see. Kristen UCF says, I love your job, man. Sadly, Instagram doesn't show your posts to me, but your answers. Interesting. I don't know why that is. Let's see. Best app for illustrators to post art. Instagram is definitely probably the best place for you to post your work and post in progress shots. I'm actually working right now on a freelance course on how to start freelancing. And one of the things I'm talking about in there is posting to social media and finding the right social media platforms for you in order to get exposure and to get work. Let's see. One more question on Instagram before I jump back in. The result, it's vector like Illustrator. Yes. So what this does is it creates both vector and raster. There is a workaround in order to take what the finished vector that we're going to have here, and move it into Adobe Illustrator. You can't open directly from the app here into Illustrator, at least not yet. I think it is a feature that they are working on. Maybe they've even updated it since the last time I used this. But right now you can't, but there is a way that I found that you can work around it and do it. So, all right, so we can remove that part there. Thanks so much for all the questions, guys. I'm glad that everybody seems to be really, really like asking questions and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. So at first I was going to say, let's do like a cool face on this character, but you know what? Because of the fact that, you want to promote the right situations, I think what we should do is we should actually give him give him a mask. And I think we should make it the correct type of mask. I can't, it's like, what's the correct, who in the chat knows which one is the correct mask type that they're saying to use? Actually, we might wait to do that. We might do that on top of his face, because I think I need to make sure I get the proportions right. So I'm going to undo all of that. Adobe Fresco, I think there is a way for you to live stream it. What I'm doing here on YouTube is I've got it hooked up to my computer. I've got everything running through an OBS, so that if you guys can if you guys jump into YouTube, you can actually see me doing this probably a lot better than what you see here. Let's see. Fun fact. Mahmoud in Arabic means praised. Awesome. Thank you for the fun fact. Let's see. Nicole Karzanoff. Where is your freelance class going to be available? Have you considered teaching classes on Skillshare? So Skillshare has reached out to me multiple times, but I'm not doing it on Skillshare. It's actually going to be a combination of an ebook, slide deck, a bunch of like white papers, and YouTube videos that are going to be hidden behind a paid wall. Awesome. Look, Mom, No Hands on Instagram has me up on both Instagram and on YouTube. Wow, thank you so much for that. Oh, and we have the answer. The answer is the N95 mask. Whoops, and I realized that I'm doing that on a separate screen. Okay. All right, so let me draw a little bit more here, and then I'm going to answer some more questions, because I see there's multiple ones. Jonathan even says on YouTube, he's like, this character kind of reminds me of Johnny Bravo. Yes, he kind of like with that stance and the muscles and everything. I don't know, for some reason I wanted to do a muscular character today. But let's see. And I see that there are questions coming in. I'm going to go ahead and I will answer them in a moment. I just want to do a little bit of doodling before I do. Okay. Let's see. But how's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing this Monday? Or if you are international, who knows? It might even be Tuesday already. You know what, let's actually give... Let's see. I actually kind of want to give him glasses. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the glasses. I think that overall this is actually looking really good. Sorry, this is Box. No curls today. Okay, so Branding by Amir says, yeah, I noticed you have a lot of engagement on Dribble. Any tips for that? Honestly, it took many years in order for me to get to that point. It's not something where overnight you're going to be a success. And this goes for any and all platforms. You're not going to be an overnight success on social media and specifically on Dribble. Now, you can easily get one post that goes a little bit viral, but that's about it, to be honest. And also someone mentioned about looking at reference. There, I am going to look at reference a little bit later, specifically for the hands here. Hands are always the most difficult part of drawing characters for me. And so I always have to pull up references on how to do it. Let's see. Mahmoud says it's 10:45 p.m. Monday here in Jordan. Oh, wow. By the way, where is everybody tuning in from? Please let me know down in the chat. Look, Mom No Hand says, what do you use to get your stream to work like this on YouTube and the iPad? So what I'm doing here is I've got this cable here connected to my computer, and then I'm going to show this to people who are on the OBS or who are on Instagram. You can kind of see there I'm using something called OBS, and it allows me to layer multiple pieces. So I've got my screen, which is pulled up on QuickTime, and then the QuickTime window is brought up into the OBS. Then I have a PNG overlay with the stuff saying to follow me at Rocky Rourke and have my website. And then I have my webcam on there as well. So that's how I'm able to do this. All right, we got somebody from Indonesia. Hello. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Okay. I know I butchered that, Amir, and I do apologize for that. Okay. I have an idea. I know where Bosnia is, but I have no idea the other place. Is that like the state or something like that? We've got Puerto Rico. We've got Uzbekistan. Wow, so many people. Jonathan says on YouTube, doing well, been working on redoing my whole website on Webflow in addition to redoing my personal brand. Haven't really visited my personal brand since art school. So I will tell you this right now. Believe it or not, I'm in the same boat with that. I had not touched my branding or anything in so long. And it took forever for me to figure it out. I think I started, or I wanted to start working on my brand back in May of last year. And it wasn't until the start of October where I had everything dialed in brand-wise. I went through, I think, 3 or 4 different branding projects before I finally found what I love. Let's see, we've got London, England, we've got Serbia, we've got Brazil, and Detroit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's so cool to know that there's so many people out there who are tuning in, who are asking questions, and everything like that. I really appreciate it. Let's see. So we've got this doctor here. Let's see if we can add in the mask. But no, I actually, it's great to hear, Jonathan, that you're working in Webflow. That is what I created my website in. All right, so I imagine this is how we would go about doing the mask. And what I like to do is I like to duplicate things and just hide them, because I don't want to erase something and then regret it. and I do this in Illustrator too. I never just copy something. I always make sure, or I never just delete something or alter it. I always make sure that I save a copy of it. Raf on here says, also, I'm a freelance designer and photographer in my city. Now I am also working deadline project logo. So I'm guessing you're working on a logo. Awesome. Let's see. Can you import brushes to Fresco? Are they their own file type, or can you use Photoshop brushes? If I remember correctly, you can upload your own brushes to Adobe Fresco. I have to check on that. I've been meaning to do a video on specifically Adobe Fresco for a long time now. I just haven't had the chance to do it, unfortunately. And I think, though, now with everybody working from home, it is actually a good idea to do it. So I'm actually going to type in N95 mask. There we go. Just so I can pull up the image, because I want to make sure I'm drawing the exact thing. Okay, perfect. Whoop. Almost dropped my Apple Pencil. Okay. Let me readjust here so you guys can see this. I'm not using my Sony A7 III today for the stream, just because I think that it will, when I'm using the iPad Pro, it will affect it negatively, and I don't want that to happen. All right, let me quick run through Instagram and see if there was anything else that popped out. Mohammed says, wow, looks cool so far. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Lizitz, I think is how you say your name. Sorry if I butchered that. I love your brand. It's absolutely you and what you do. It's simple and friendly. Thank you so much. Why you have a YouTube channel? So I have a YouTube channel or maybe you're asking what is the YouTube channel. So if you just Google my name or go to YouTube and type in my name, you should be able to find it. This is Adobe Fresco. So it's actually interesting. I've noticed when I went through and I redid my branding, that my brand has actually evolved over the years. Because if you ever followed me, in the past, you'll know that my brand was a lot more cartoony and bubbly, and now it seems a lot more refined. It still has that personality, but it's got more refinement to it. And it's interesting because that actually shows growth. So it shows a maturity in my overall brand because I myself have been maturing. Let's see. Have you had the opportunity to get an early view of Adobe Illustrator for the iPad? I'm excited about that being released, hopefully sometime this year. So I am on the beta, but I haven't used it since the first. Actually, I was on the alpha of it. I actually knew about that before everybody else did. I have not checked it out yet, but I definitely want to, and I doubt I will be able to do any streaming with it because they were very guarded about that stuff. I couldn't even show Adobe Fresco for a long time, and I was using this for actually over 2 years. Okay, so we've got our guy here. I'm probably going to fix the eyes a bit from where they are right now because I think that we might have him looking at something else. Let's see. Let's put on the little clip here with his badge. No, we're not going to put it right there. We'll actually put it on his hip. And let's put the stethoscope. When my wife was going through her medical assistant program, I bought her my mom bought her one stethoscope, and I think I bought her another one because hers actually broke. we go. This is looking good. I'm really liking how this is turning out so far. What do you guys think? Jonathan says, I'm excited for Adobe Illustrator on the iPad 2. I think that will be the thing that finally makes me want to get an iPad Pro. I honestly, the iPad Pro is one of my favorite tools, and I would definitely suggest that you pick it up. Let's see. I took advantage of the 50% off for Affinity Designer today. Do you have any experience using that? So I strictly work in Adobe Illustrator, or excuse me, in Adobe products. I don't really use anything else. So no, I don't have experience with that. A lot of people ask me, why don't you try new software? And honestly, the reason why I don't is because of the fact that I just why do I need to change the software that I'm using? I've been using Adobe Illustrator and Adobe products for over 15 years now, and I'm used to them. I love them. Like, there's no reason for me to do anything else or use anything else. Let's see. Nate Bear. Hey, Nate Bear. What's the brief? So currently working on just like a character of like a doctor. I don't think he's going to be like a superhero, but he's got this like cool power pose and everything. I think he's still going to turn out pretty cool. So maybe what we could do is this. We could go and put like a coronavirus on his scrubs here, and then maybe have it crossed out like that. But I don't know if that really fits with this. What do you guys think? Do you think we should have a symbol on the front of his scrubs, or just keep him a regular doctor? What do you guys think? Hey, Eric. Eric is actually a client of mine. I'm actually going to be working on his project a little bit later today. Marzian says, hey, it's super cool. Love from India. Hope you're home and you're safe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Muhammad. Muhammad says, it's inspiring watching me work. I really appreciate that. Oh, hey, David. All right. And we have our first leg day joke of the stream. Okay, I mentioned this earlier. A lot of times when I do these types of characters, I don't like doing giant legs. I actually like doing it to where their legs are a lot smaller and thinner than the rest of their body. It's just my favorite way of doing it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and remove the symbol because it seems like some people are not liking it. So we'll go ahead and remove the symbol altogether. But the reason why I just like doing the thinner legs on characters, it's more of a retro feel to it. And that's the reason why I end up doing that. Let's see. Earlier you had mentioned that you are using Dribble less now because you don't like the changes they have made. Can you elaborate on why you aren't using it as much? Well, I haven't been using it as much just because what I end up doing is I create a bunch of posts and I send them out, or I schedule them out, weeks in advance. I also found that the way that they've changed a lot of things with their algorithm and the way that people can find you and hire you has really been not great to me. I feel like a lot of people have been screwed over by them, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of them kind of going against the community, so to speak. And there's a lot more that I can't really discuss. I don't want to really discuss that is a little bit sour notes. But yeah, let's just say I wish that Dan Cederholm, I hope I said his name right. I wish he was still in charge of Dribble. And I'll leave it at that. Let's see, a lab coat would make it perfect. I thought about a lab coat, but then I was like, maybe not here. I don't want him to look too much more like a scientist than he does a doctor. Let's see. Love it, by the way. Thank you so much. Regular doctor. Okay, so it seems like everybody seems to be on board with making it more of a regular doctor. So Fresco is somebody asked on YouTube what's Fresco. So Adobe Fresco is Adobe's latest mobile app, and it allows you to create both in vector and in raster. So right here, excuse me, you're hearing my dog in the background. Those of you on YouTube can see him in the background shaking, knocking down pillows left and right. There was a bunch of Adobe pillows up there. Now they're scattered everywhere because he knocks them down as he jumps up and down. But Adobe Fresco is probably my favorite tool that I've been using, especially for the iPad Pro. In the past, I was a huge fan of using Adobe Illustrator Draw, but since Fresco has come out, I basically only use that because I can do both my sketches and vector in the same thing. Sure, the name of the program is Adobe Fresco. I believe it is free. If you have an Adobe Creative Cloud account, though, you will get a lot more bang for your buck, so to speak. But I do like somebody, who was it that said it? Somebody said, okay, Nate Bear said, add a beat up coronavirus with a black eye. Actually, I kind of like that. Let's actually see how that would look. I actually really like that idea, Nate. Thanks for suggesting it. Let's actually make it smaller. We're gonna make it really bumpy. Add some bruises to it to show that it's getting beaten up. Okay. So Nate Bear just said that limited featured version of Fresco are available for free to try. Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Adobe, so I'm always going to use Adobe products. And I'm always going to suggest that people use them. I think Fresco is amazing, though, so I would definitely suggest it. There we go. So we got the coronavirus being beaten up. I kind of like that. I think that's actually really good. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the coronavirus being in there all beaten up, or do you think we should remove it? I'll let the chat decide. Okay, so it looks like, could you give us some tips on how to get closer results when you're working on a caricature? I'm working on one, and I don't feel they look so much like on real life. By tips, I mean hints. So, if you're ever creating a character that's based on somebody, I would definitely suggest that you look at specific features that match that person. You don't have to get very realistic. You don't have to be super detailed. Usually it's like one or two things that really make the character. So for instance, with me, right? Number one, I'm a big guy, right? So you can make the character kind of big. I also am always wearing a hat. It used to be an Adobe hat. Now it's my blue Cyclops hat. So, and for those of you, I'm going to take off my hat so you guys can see on here my new blue Cyclops hat. With these, like with that, plus like you can use my hair, like how, you know, my hair is always like fanned over a little bit. Those two features can instantly tell somebody that that it's me, right? That's I'm that character. So, for instance, let me think of a good example. Okay, so like let's say Ron Swanson, right? If you're creating a caricature of Ron Swanson, he always has this like poofy retro style haircut. He always has his signature mustache, except for in a couple of instances, and he always has this specific look on his face, this like scowl, right? So those are the main things that you would focus on for the caricature. If the person that you are trying to do a caricature of, if they have a certain hairstyle, if they're always wearing something like with me and my hat, or with Ron Swanson and his mustache, you include something like that in there. Somebody suggested adding horns. I think what we can do, whoops, let me cancel that, is we can actually turn this into a horn. Actually, let's do this. Let's break one of the horns. We'll have the horn with like the little piece up there. Have this dangling down. There we go. Indigo on YouTube asked, can you use it on Windows? I believe there is a Android version of the app. I'm not 100% positive because I am all Apple. I'm an Apple addict, so I don't know if they do have that. Oh, okay. So they were actually suggesting that some of these things are broken. Actually, I think that's better than making these horns. So we'll go back here and we'll go. And we'll actually not just break them, but we'll also bend them. Again, everybody, also I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into today's live stream. I really appreciate it. And I think what I'm going to do, because I know at some point in the next 20 minutes, this will, the Instagram Live will get messed up, or excuse me, it will end. So I will be going through and doing another stream. So definitely stay tuned for that as well, if it does end. So I think we're going to start doing the line work in just a little bit. Jordan Jenkins, I am actually streaming right now on YouTube. If you want to jump in there and check it out, it's a little bit more of a detailed view than what you're seeing here. But yes, I'm doing both YouTube and Instagram simultaneously, and I hope to be doing this a lot more in the future as well. Last week I did, I think, 3 or 4 streams, and this week I hopefully will be doing one every day. The only day I might not be able to stream is on Wednesday because that is a retainer day. Thank you for making a live stream. Thanks for sharing your time and talent. No problem. I'm glad that you guys are all in here. This has probably been my best stream, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the fact that I am creating and not just a talking head. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a new layer. First, let me combine these layers. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to switch to the vector brush. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to grab my color. And now we're going to zoom in. Nate Bear suggests I have him laid out. I might come back and redo the coronavirus. Actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him swaying. So we'll add some weaky knee lines here. To show like his movements are swaying. Okay. So now let's jump in and let's do the line work. So now the line work that I'm about to do here is all vector. This isn't raster now. And you'll see, for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see over on the right side where we have these layers that a little symbol is going to pop up on this once I start drawing on it. Do that. Let's see, how do we have this set up? We have it set up correctly. I don't know why. There we go. And so I'm going to show this to the people on Instagram. Let's see if we can show it. And I don't think we can. Never mind. I can't show it, but now it has an indicator on the layers where it is showing that it's now a vector layer. And so everything that I'm creating here is a vector shape. Actually wanted to redo that. The important thing is here that it does not have to be perfect, but I am a perfectionist. Okay, looking good, looking good. The one thing that I wish that Adobe Fresco had, actually let me fix this ear here, is a feature that Adobe Illustrator Draw had, which is using shapes. Using shapes to go through and create certain things. So sometimes I have to eyeball it, and when I'm doing work for clients in here, in the style, I actually go through and redo certain things like the pupils and things like that. And what I will sometimes do is I don't create all of the vectors because of I don't create all the vectors on one layer, and it helps with removing certain parts. So like notice how I went into the mask there. I can now just go ahead and erase it and not erase the mask because I did it on a separate layer. Do you ever bring these into a desktop program to tweak when done? And what's the best for Fresco to bring into AI or PS? So I actually do bring these into Adobe Illustrator to do all final like color on it. I don't do any color in Adobe Fresco. I do everything in grayscale here, and that's what then I actually go through and excuse me, I do everything in grayscale, and then I bring it into Adobe Illustrator and do the color. Sounds like there's some lag from what people are saying. Let me know. I don't know if it's lag on Instagram or if it's lag on the stream. Hold on one second. I'm gonna actually turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone, and that should hopefully help. It could be the reason, if there is any lag, that could be because of the fact that it could be the fact that somebody here is streaming or like watching Netflix, because everybody is home. Let's redo this. Oh, okay, okay. So somebody's asking, why is there lag when I'm drawing here? So if you're looking on Instagram, you'll notice that as I'm drawing, it's not following exactly where the pen tip is. And that is because of the smoothing that I have on here. Because of the smoothing, it doesn't follow the Apple Pencil tip all the way perfectly. And so it's actually adjusting as it's going. So that's why. Yeah, it's something where I had to get used to it, but now I'm completely used to it to where it doesn't bother me. But I have heard other people say that they're not a big fan of that, but I don't think there's any problem with it. No problem. Yeah, Mahmood is saying that there is a bit of a delay in the program on the YouTube channel. That is just because of the fact I'm streaming at all. I don't have a very great upload speed right now, but I am trying to fix that. I ordered 100 feet of Cat 6 cable, and I'm hoping that by Thursday I should be able to hook this computer up directly to the modem, which is in another room. And if I can do that, then there shouldn't be any problem with the delay, hopefully. Okay. And you'll notice as we're going through this, like I've changed some things up, and we can actually see this is how everything looks currently. I have changed some things as we've been going through. And I can tell you right now, I'm not liking how this is looking here, so I'm going to need to fix that. So I'm going to erase right here, and be careful not to erase the eyebrows. Okay, so let's redo that. Whoa, I grabbed the wrong brush. There we go. There we go. Let's erase. Okay. There we go. That feels so much better. Yeah, sometimes you just have to see what works and what doesn't work. Last question. Do you have any videos showing your camera and streaming setup, etc.? Not yet. I will be doing some sort of blog post or video talking about that. I just haven't done it yet. But I know that a lot of people have been asking me about the setup. And I just now finally got the cam link to work properly. And so I'm also going to talk a little bit about that as well, because I think the one thing that you don't see a lot of people talking about is that the cam links don't always work properly. And by the way, if people have questions, please feel free to ask away. I am perfectly open to answering questions as I'm doing this. I don't know if we're going to get finished with this today, but that's okay because we can always come back tomorrow for a live stream and finish it up. Looking good, looking good. Do you use a separate layer for each line and then merge them after, or just use a separate layer when something appears in front? So I don't use, I actually, this is the only case where I use a bunch of layers. Normally I don't use many at all, if any. I usually will create an Adobe Illustrator with one layer and that's it. What I'm doing here though is at the end of this, I will group every one of the lines together, duplicate it, and then merge that duplicate. And that's how I end up going through and doing this. So it's funny, actually, two people just asked something very similar on Instagram. What iPad are you using, and which iPad would you recommend? I personally am using the iPad Pro 12.9 inch. Not the latest one that just came out, but the one right before that. And I would definitely suggest a bigger screen is better overall. At least for me it is, because I have big hands. But it's honestly the one thing I wish that they would come out with a bigger iPad. I actually would love a... Which one am I wanting? I want a 17-inch iPad, which I know people are like not... Are always say that I'm crazy when I say that. But it's true. That's what I want. Okay, we ran into a little problem here because I didn't put this on separate layers, so I'm going to try to remove it as best as I can. Now let's clean this up. There we go. Hey, David. Sorry, I'm not on Call of Duty right now. In Warzone, me and David on YouTube here, we play Call of Duty Warzone quite a bit. It's actually funny. Last night I couldn't sleep, and instead of playing Call of Duty, I ended up playing Farm Simulator 19. Honestly, Nate actually said maybe the next 27-inch iMac will be an actual giant iPad. I would really love that. I don't know if you're joking, but I think that would be amazing. Alright, so let's see what this looks like without the sketch. Okay, things are coming together. The one thing, if there are some parts that aren't perfect with this, then it's okay. Oh no! Instagram just ended, so 1 second, guys. Let me save it out and then restart this. Oh yeah, and Jonathan, and me play Warzone as well. It's so much fun. I really like it because it's a great de-stressor for me. How was the farm simulator, David? It was actually a lot of fun. Let me go through, guys, and jump on live again on Instagram because I wasn't paying attention. Um, but yeah, I had a lot of fun playing it. I just needed some sort of game that was not super important. Like it wasn't something where I was going to get super stressed out about. And I happened to see someone playing it yesterday on Facebook. Okay. Believe it or not, I've already actually created characters that are wearing scrubs at some point this year. This is not my first character with scrubs. Hey, Mark. Welcome. How's everything going in Bermuda? And now Nate Bear is double streaming. Yeah, I need to figure out a good setup for Instagram when it comes to these live streams on YouTube, especially when I'm doing these types of streams where I'm using the iPad Pro. Yeah, I bet you are, man. Has there been any cases in Bermuda yet? Hopefully not. Hmm. I think the part of the process that is the most relaxing is actually when I'm going through and doing the fill for these. Oh, wow. Hopefully, you and your family will be safe. No problem. Ideate creativity. He or she said, "Thanks for sharing this. It's so cool to see how others are getting creative." Yeah, Mark. What you just sent me the Slack message. Sure. I'd definitely be down to talk a little bit later about that. Okay, things are looking good here. So how's everybody adjusting to if you've never worked from home or you don't work from home normally? How are you guys adjusting to that? Not the best hands, but this one I'm not actually happy with. Hands have always been the most difficult part of illustrating for me. So it's always a struggle. But I think that, here, let's take a look without sketch. I think that's okay for now. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, I bet. I bet that's definitely a struggle. Jonathan says, really liking the shorter commute. Yeah, that was one thing I really enjoyed. One tip though, when you're working from home, don't work in like the clothes that you normally would sleep in, because it really actually hurts your productivity. Let's see. I think we're gonna change this up a little bit. And we're gonna give him Crocs. My wife loves Crocs. I hate Crocs. I have no idea if doctors should be wearing Crocs. Probably not. May change this later. I'll have to ask her what she thinks, if a doctor should be wearing Crocs or if they shouldn't be. So, but let's see. Ernie says, hasn't been as bad as I thought, but definitely like actually going to the office. Yeah, like I work from home. I've worked from home for a long time. And honestly, like, I love it. I do sometimes miss actually getting out and doing stuff, though. Like, normally every 2 weeks or so, I try and schedule a bunch of meetings where I go and have lunch with people, catch up with old friends and everything like that. And pretty much can't do that now. So now I'm at that point where, I get a little bit of cabin fever. I actually went out yesterday and just went for a drive, picked up some lunch for me and my wife, and it was the farthest I'd gone in probably two weeks or so. And it was just good to get out of the house, but the streets were so like there was only a couple parts where it was actually still crowded. I definitely agree, Mohammed. Like, these are the perfect time to work on old projects. Um, but working from bed and getting paid is really fun. I don't work at all from my room unless it's like just like stuff for fun or stuff for myself. Because it's actually not good to bring that into your resting environment. What happens then is it actually can throw your body out of whack, and you think your body starts to think, okay, when I'm in this room, I should be working. Yeah, I thought that a lot of doctors wore Crocs too, and I didn't know. Actually, I'm gonna change this. This is also something I like to do from time to time. Is we're gonna select this Croc, and we're going to duplicate it, and then flip it, and move it over here because I like this one turned out better than the other one. And then we're just going to, so that it looks a little different, we're just going to erase these marks here and redo it. There we go. Whoop. All right, let's see how this guy's looking. Not bad, not bad. Once we like start doing the fills and we start doing the shading, it's going to look a lot better than it does right now. But it's not too bad right now. I'm actually really happy with this. Wow, we got 13 people watching right now. Please definitely, if you guys are liking what you're seeing in this live stream on YouTube, please definitely hit that like button. Also, please say hello in the chat if you get a chance. And same thing for Instagram. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, please hit that that heart button. It doesn't really show much for metrics, but at least it is fun to see that people like what I'm putting out. Thanks, guys. All right, so this is gonna be the fun part. This is the part I've been dreading, and that is the eyeballs. So what I'm probably gonna do, actually, let's try one thing first. Let's see how this looks, and then it will decide if we need to do an actual eyeball. Yeah, we need to do eyeballs. But I am gonna take this pupil because I like that. Turned out pretty good. And then we're going to try to make as perfect of a circle as we possibly can. Oh god, this is going to be a headache. Marcos, hello, I'm from the Dominican Republic. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so let's try and get as close to a perfect circle as possible. I didn't get it. Undo. Alright, actually, let's do this away from the pupil. This is better, but it's thick. It's super thick. Okay, that could possibly work. Let's actually pull this over here. Actually, that might work. And I actually want it to come out a little bit above, I think. Nah. We'll keep it right in, I guess. Decrease the size just slightly. And then we're going to duplicate that. And we're going to reuse that same eyeball, but we're going to rotate it so that it's not, it doesn't look exactly the same. Sorry, my voice is cracking because I'm thirsty, so I need to take a quick period break. Okay. There we go. All right. But we're going to take that same pupil, drag it over here. Let's squish it a little bit. Put it down there. I think when I duplicate this, it's going to duplicate the other part. Yep. So we just need to erase that. Whoops. Oh no. There we go. Sometimes this will happen, unfortunately. There we go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm really excited that people have been liking the streams. And that especially today, like so many people have shown up, and I really appreciate it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these into a group, all of the line work, just to make it easier. And he's looking good. I'm really excited about this. So the next step is going to be to do the fill. So we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to start doing this. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to use gray values. And then we're going to basically, just like a coloring book, just go around the edges. And usually with the first colors, we can go in and out of the actual lines. We don't have to follow them because we're just going to build up upon this. And I always try and use different colors, or using the same colors only for certain instances. So like this same color I have here is the same color I'm going to use for the skin everywhere. And then we just fill it. And we're going to do that all around on his arms. Alright, I think while we're doing this, because this doesn't take a lot of effort, if anybody has any questions they would like to ask, please feel free to do so. It can be about this, it can be about illustration in general, freelance, design, whatever it is. Alright, so we got the skin done. This sometimes will go pretty quick if we are lucky. We're not always lucky, unfortunately. Let's see. Where do you draw your inspiration from? Well, I look at a lot of inspiration overall. I'm always adding to. I have a Pinterest board. With characters like this, though, like I've developed the style over a long period of time, and I don't know. It comes to me. I know that's not the best answer, but it truly just comes to me a lot of times. And but I do pull from a lot of different sources. Like for instance, and you guys on whoops, on YouTube can't see this, but the people on Instagram can. So this is an Instagram exclusive. In my sketchbook right now, I've been doing a lot of these fun doodles here. And this is all based on one of my favorite illustrators. Let me actually find his name so I can give you the exact name. His name's Nick Bear. His Instagram is BearmanBeast, all one word. And I think he actually does work for Rick and Morty, doing background designs. So I pull a lot of inspiration from him, and it's fun to just like do some little doodles here and there, and create things on your own. And it's okay to use other people's styles and everything, as long as the stuff is original. One of my favorite songs just came on to my iTunes. I'm listening to music as we're doing this, because otherwise it would probably be kind of boring since I'm just hearing myself speak. But I'm listening to John Denver, Country Roads. My wife asked me, why do you love that? You're not from West Virginia. You're not even technically from the country, even though I kind of am. Honestly, I love that song because of the fact that it just reminds me of where I grew up. It reminds me of my family and everything. And so it reminds me of a simpler time too, when we didn't have all this chaos. And it was funny because I was cleaning our patio over the weekend, and the song happened to come on my phone, and we had some neighbors that just happened to be outside nearby, and they start singing the song because they could hear it. So that was pretty funny. Oops, and I just realized I wasn't looking at the... There we go. Let's see. How long did it take you to develop your style? A long time. The short answer is a long time. Honestly, it probably took about... From when I really got serious into illustrating and digital illustration, it probably took me... The first style that I absolutely loved and used a lot of, that one probably took, I would say, 5 years. From the time I started to the time I started using that style. But since then, the styles that I've started using, they just start happening. Like this style here, this just happened from me playing around and testing out other people's styles. But honestly, the best way to develop your style is to copy other people's, the way that other people work. Not copying, not plagiarizing and stuff like that, but actually just testing and practicing things out. I tell people a lot of times what they should do is they should go through and they should find illustrations or illustrators that they like, and they should copy what they do. Don't share it. Don't show the stuff that they're copying, but just do it for their own benefit, so they can learn how that illustrator or designer went about creating that piece. If you need help figuring out how to stream music, let me know. Had to find a workaround for streaming Mac audio. Okay, actually, I actually found a way. I actually bought $100 software. So this will be, I think, only the people who are... Yeah, only the people who are on YouTube will be able to see this or hear this. But 1 second, let me... Audio... Nope, not that one. input, add existing. Okay, so if I'm correct, you guys should start hearing music right about now. And let me know if it's too loud or if it's too low, if you like me to turn it up. But this is Audio, AUDIIO. I have a lifetime subscription for free. And it allows me to, or not for free, I paid, I think, $200 for it. But it allows me to put that music on there. I can't monetize these streams when I do it. But if it helps you guys, if it helps, you know, my monotone voice, then yeah, I'll definitely play that for you guys. Jonathan says, I've been given similar advice. Copy something and then design your way out of it until it's something of your own. Really helpful tip to someone who freezes at the sight of a blank canvas. Yeah, like it's something where, you know, I didn't have this idea of like, oh, this is how I should probably be working. But then I realized, wait, this is how I actually developed my own skills was by going through and learning, or just like testing things out and seeing how other people worked, or how I could then replicate what it is that they did. Well, Jonathan, like I'm okay spending $100 on the workaround, because of the fact that it was I can use it for my podcast, and because it's tax deductible. Anything that I can use as a tax deduction, I am perfectly fine with doing or buying. I'm using Adobe Fresco on the iPad Pro, 12.9-inch iPad Pro, not the newest one, which I actually am debating. I might try an upgrade to the new iPad that just came out. I'm not 100% sure. I don't care about the camera that they have on it. I don't care about the AR or AR stuff that they have with it. What I actually like is I love the stand with the trackpad, mouse, and the keyboard. And if I can use the same iPad Pro with that setup, I will just buy that thing. I don't know if it is going to be compatible or not. Apple loves to do that, where they make it to where it's not compatible when it should be. So we will wait and see. So I can find a playlist that I can monetize for and everything. But I'm kind of lazy right now, and I just pulled up audio and just pulled up a random playlist. But yeah, I can like set up a playlist on there myself with just music that it can be monetized. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. But how does can you hear the music, Jonathan? Is it sounding good? I know there's comments coming in on Instagram. 1 second, let me finish this part. Okay. I would say my favorite drawing app for the iPad is definitely Adobe Fresco. Oh, awesome! Awesome. So I can actually use this iPad with that stand. I love that. That was the one thing I was hoping I could do. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to order it. I don't think it's available until May, though. Because I don't need to upgrade my iPad Pro. This iPad does everything I need. It's as fast as I need. I've never run out of space. And by the way, unless you're doing something really crazy, when you use like Adobe Fresco, you don't have to have the maximum space. I think I might have on this, but I don't think... Actually, no, I don't think I have the maximum capacity for this. I do for my iPhone, but not for this. Okay, sure, I'll raise it up. Let me know if this is too high. Alright, our doctor is looking really good. Well, so, yeah, like, I agree with you. The $300 for a stand is pretty expensive. But it would allow me to just take my iPad with me when I go out to work at a coffee shop, which I can't do right now anyway. But that's the biggest selling point to me, because I don't like taking my MacBook Pro with me unless I'm traveling like long distance. But there is another problem with using iPad Pro as a computer also. One of my favorite apps that I use, which is Airtable. I use that for all of my business stuff, from doing my sales funnel to keeping up to date on my network and everything. It doesn't have a good mobile app for the iPad, and they won't let you use the browser, unfortunately. Okay, a little bit loud. Okay, how about that? Is that good, Jonathan? Okay, let me go. How about this? Is the music better now? Let me know if that's a good point. Sorry if I just like destroyed your eardrums, guys. Yep, that was evidently too loud for them. Oh no, they couldn't hear what I'm saying. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. I know there is a bit of a lag on YouTube, so that's the reason why I have to wait to see what they say, or I don't see everything. Okay, perfect. It's perfect now. Great. Well, see, that's good to know, because that's, you know, I want to have this ability, especially like when I have to take a break, or when I'm just about to start my stream. You know, I don't want it to just be an empty screen. If there's music, people will generally stick around when there's no like action happening. Eardrum's still intact. Do I have a go-to color palette? I don't have a go-to color palette. I do have a color library that I put together. This is my entire color library that I've created myself. And I've done this over the years. I don't even know how many palettes there is total. I think there's over 200, maybe even more than that. But I use this to choose my colors. But I choose my color. I don't do the color here in the iPad Pro, just because it actually can kind of take a little bit longer to do. So I do it all in Adobe Illustrator. Which I might do a stream where I do the color for this. But it won't be on Instagram, unfortunately, because otherwise you'll just be staring at my computer from afar and it won't be as good. So when I do that, I will definitely suggest that you guys check out the YouTube Live instead. Oh, that's awesome, Jonathan. Yeah, like I had all of those things set up before, but I need to go through and do them again, because I kind of stopped doing live streams for a long time, and I just haven't updated with new branding and everything. That's why you'll sometimes see the horrible YouTube branding that I did, or the old branding on YouTube. I haven't updated that either, and that's something I need to do. Okay, we're getting close to being done with the fills. think we got it on this. Okay. Alright, so we got the fills done, so I'm going to group these together. Perfect. Alright, and now the next step is the shading. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the coronavirus character, which if you guys are just tuning in, let me put on the sketch here. This is our coronavirus character. He's been beat up by this doctor here. We're going to do that tomorrow. Just because I have to do some work. But I'll at least finish up this here. So what I'm doing is I'm setting up my layer because this layer is going to be my shading layer. And I always set the shadows or shading to multiply and 35%. 35% is my golden ratio for, or my golden number for this. And then I use purple as for my shading. Again, if you guys are just tuning in on YouTube, if you guys could please, if you guys like what you see, give a like on the like button. Remember to subscribe. I will be going live a lot more often now, especially since everybody here is home during this, horrible situation that we're all in. But yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Hello from Colombia. Awesome. Some people ask me, how do you do shading? And I basically tell them, it's not a perfect science. There's actually something I need to do here. There we go. Thank you so much, and hello in Brazil. I'm curious, what do you guys like to listen to while you guys are working? Or do you guys listen to anything? Podcasts, music, TV shows, stuff like that? Right now I've got Tom Petty playing in my ear. Biggest regret of my life is not being able to see him live before he died. I will definitely try to do more content like this. I miss doing stuff like sharing stuff like this. Oh, nice. Yeah, sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. noticed that my Apple Pencil kind of just, sometimes it'll unscrew the tip and I have to readjust it. Yeah, I'm working this week on, in addition to client work and stuff like that, I'm also working on putting together a freelance course on how to start freelancing. Which I'm hoping to possibly, I might have a pre-sale for it. Maybe next week. And then hopefully the following week be able to share it, or be able to put it up for sale completely. Thank you. I'm not the best when it comes to shading by any means. I try and get it as natural as possible, and there is some things I do that aren't exactly how it's gonna look naturally, but it's a fun thing to experiment with. I'm the type of person where I can actually listen to the same stuff over and over again. So I actually have a playlist that I call the Chillax playlist. And it's just, it's like maybe 20 to 24 songs total. And I'll play it every single day. Yeah, this is looking really good. Yeah, there's sometimes where that does come off that way. That it does. There are some spots where it does look like there's more than one light source, and I don't have a problem with that. I actually like the imperfections with some of the work. So, and again, it's something that I'm always improving on, because trust me, like some of the first ones I used to do shading on are so bad. But it's gotten a lot better over time. Like there's certain areas where I'm like, I feel like there should be a shadow here that probably don't need a shadow. No, the smoothing delay actually doesn't get on my nerves at all. I'm so used to it now to where it doesn't even affect me anymore. At first, it may have, but I don't even remember anymore. Yes, and perfectly perfect. Yeah, it's something where it's like when things are too perfect, I just not a fan of them. I actually prefer imperfection over perfection. And yet, I'm a perfectionist. Alright, that is looking good. There we go. I think that works out pretty good. Yep, so this is where we're ending up for today, right? And let's see, let's go ahead. We'll remove each layer as we go. So go through here. And this is where we start off at. So tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to do the vectors of this germ guy, of the coronavirus guy. And then we're going to potentially jump into Adobe Illustrator and do the color for these. Hopefully we can do that. I don't know if I'll be able to share it on Instagram Live, but we will try. So I've now been live for almost 2 hours. Holy crap. So I'm going to ask, if anybody has any other questions or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over my camera if I can figure it out. There we go. Figure out this on Instagram here. So if anybody has any questions, I'll answer questions for probably the next 5 to 10 minutes if people have anything to ask. But yeah. I'm really excited with how all this turned out. I think this turned out really good. So, yeah. That's what I tell my friends about games, that it doesn't have to be as perfect as reality. Sometimes the imperfections can be made in a way that it makes a game a lot more fun. and creates the world of its own. Yeah, it's very true. It's like being perfect about everything is not the best route to take for things, especially, you know, in things that are creative, right? You know, there are things as I'm looking at the character and everything like that. Yeah, there's some things I would probably change, but I'm like, you know what? I think it's good. I think it's really good. So, but yeah, so it looks like no one has any questions. I'll wait around for a couple more minutes and then I will go ahead and end the stream for today. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in for this and for yeah, just like being here, because I think this was a lot of fun. And the fact that I was creating a character versus just like doodling, I think also made that fun as well. Vego says, I want a course for start drawing. I love your work. I actually do have a daily drawing lessons course. I haven't put it up on my new website, bluecyclops.co, just yet. One of the things I have to do is I'm working on a new course right now that should be done in the next couple of weeks. And I'm hoping that when that is done, I will also put back up my daily drawing lessons course that people can purchase as well. How did you mainly create art before the release of the iPad Pro? I had a Wacom Cintiq, a small one, the smallest Wacom Cintiq that you could have back then. And I would use that to illustrate directly into Adobe Illustrator, and I'd do my sketches in Adobe Photoshop. And that's how I would go about doing my my work before then, my digital work. Thanks, Jonathan. I think you should. This is the perfect time to start streaming, if you think about it. This is like the perfect time. I think that the one thing that I've now realized is, you know, it doesn't matter the camera quality when I'm focusing on the actual work itself. And so that's why I'm not worrying about putting my Sony a7 III up when I'm doing these types of live streams. I think once I get the dummy battery that I'm getting from my camera, as well as the, what do you call it? As well as the hooking my computer up to the modem directly, then I'll be able to use both my a7 III and to do these types of work. So I would definitely suggest that if you're just starting out learning how to draw, I wouldn't suggest going into the investment of buying an iPad. I would just stick to paper and pencil or pen and go from there. Because a lot of times people have these notions that they want to start drawing, they want to start doodling, and everything like that. And I would actually suggest that instead, focus on actually drawing. Don't focus on so much the materials that you're using. Do you think the new Magic stand will work as a stand to draw on? I don't think it will. I'd have to look at it because I didn't give enough time to actually look at the new stand that came out for Apple. I would say that off the top of my head, I would say no. But I would have to actually see how it works. The biggest thing is like, for instance, with my iPad here, whoops, let's unlock that. So the one thing with this iPad here is I'm using this type of backing, and so you have this triangle which props this up. This isn't even that sturdy. I mean, I can luckily put a good bit of weight on it. I'm curious how it's going to be with the actual Magic stand. I actually mentioned earlier, Micah, how to find your style, and the best way is to just create. It's just practice. It's just to try other people's styles, try to reconstruct other illustrations. Don't steal the illustrations or try and share it off as your own, but just use it as practice. I would definitely suggest that's the best way to kind of develop your own personal style, is by piecemealing bits of other people's styles together to create your very own and add your own unique twist to it. Alright, well, you know what? I think that's going to be it for today's live stream, both on Instagram and on YouTube. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the likes and the views that I've been getting today. And this was really a very long stream, and it's very taxing, so I now have to go and start doing some more client work. But I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. I will be back probably tomorrow. I might even have my friend Jetpacks and Roller Skates, aka Blake Stevenson, on. And we're going to do some more drawing. So if you guys, please definitely tune in tomorrow for that. And until next time, always remember to stay passionate, stay positive, and stay creative. And please, please remember to wash your hands and stay safe. Practice social distancing. Alright guys, that's it for me. Bye on both screens, on Instagram and on YouTube. Have a great day, everybody. That's it.